Alright guys, welcome to another episode of Lights Camera Life. Today I got a bit of an unusual one for you. You are going to see what it's like in the life of a church volunteer, specifically the person that programs your lights for Sunday morning. So typically what happens when you get to the church on your programming day is you gotta switch on the board, then you gotta turn on the lighting power over here. Then you gotta go back and wait for the board to turn on. Then you gotta launch the show. And then when that pulls up, you gotta get it all set up. You gotta pull up the lighting cue board, you gotta turn all the dials and the switches on, you gotta set all your settings correctly so that you can start finally programming. Now every time we got a light show, we put the haze on so you can actually see the lights. Well, the thing is, you gotta turn the heater on to prepare the hazer. That takes about 5 to 7 minutes to warm up. And then you gotta turn the haze on full, 100%. And that still takes a few minutes for it to actually get visible. Now I am going into our planning center online to take a look at all the notes and who's standing where and who sings when, so I can figure out what key light to put on the front of them and figure out the order of the service to figure out what cues need to go where. It's a bit complicated. Now I gotta turn off the work lights so that the lighting board takes over the lights, both for the stage and for the auditorium. That's why it got dark. And that was me using the little slider to adjust the house lights. Now this is me going through the giant run-on note of who sings when, so I can mark the lyric sheets as to who needs to be lit up with their key light when. It's a long process. Alright, now it is time to actually get to work. Sometimes I make up a completely new set of cues from scratch, which can take quite a while. Sometimes I just use the cue list we already have and just change cues based on what the song is like. This is me testing a lighting cue, and as you can see, the lights are going nuts, and we never like to see that. Thus my horrified face. This is where I go in to edit that horrible transition there. First I gotta hit my edit button, I gotta go to the right cue, I gotta hit the back button to make sure it's not selecting all the lights, I gotta figure out which lights are the ones that are doing the thing I don't want them to do. Then I gotta figure out what I actually want them to do. I gotta go down and I gotta find them on my list. I gotta copy the settings from one cue, and then I gotta go to the other cue and paste it so that they don't move. I hit the edit button, tells me to update it, and it saves my new settings. Now I go back to test the transition. Oh, look at that. They're not moving like crazy anymore. And now is when I play the songs they have in our planning center, so I can test out what the cues look like with the music. It's not always the easiest thing because the media in our planning center has the ability to pause, but not so much the ability that YouTube has of rewinding a few seconds. So if I want to re-listen to a part of it to see what my change in my cue looks like, I have to start over at the very beginning of the song every time. So I tend to just go to YouTube. sometimes where we have to use those little slider things. I can't think of what the real word is. But we have lights set up on little sliders so we can control them manually instead of putting them in a queue. Oh, looks like I found something that I need to fix, so let's pause the music and let's fix that cue there. Okay, here we go. Found another edit. Alright, let's see. I gotta fix this light. I want to change the position on it, so I'm going to turn this little thing and it makes the light move. I'm making it move. Those little, I don't know what you call them, dials. They're so useful instead of me punching in numbers to see what works. And save. And I'll go back a cue. And there we go. All fixed. Now comes the process where I have a certain lights that I have in a certain position, and I want to make that position the same for a bunch of cues. So I enter in which lights I want, and then I hit my little merge button, and then I tell it what I want to save. In this case, what was I want to save? Oh, that's right, the color. I wanted to save the colors of the lights. And tell it which cues I want those colors saved on those lights for. And voila! All done. And now I go through the cues to make sure those colors did indeed change without merging every setting on every light. Once again, I test my cues to the song. And now you can see why it can take up to 5, sometimes even 6 hours on a Friday, Saturday, whichever day we choose to program, to actually get this job done. You gotta program the position, the colors, the intensity, the effects, and you have to do it for every single cue, and then figure out what cues, what lights you want to add to the cues for each song. The song seems to be building here. What lights do I want to add? Oh, wait a minute, it built a little more. Maybe I should just add these lights and then add the other lights later. Yeah, it's quite confusing. Then you gotta go through the notes you were given and try to figure out, did they give me any specific notes that I want? Did they, tell me that, oh hey, we only want the lights right here during this part of the service? It can get quite a bit confusing, quite a bit dense. Although don't mistake me, it is fun. In the words of my father, check out that electric. This is typically when I go through each cue, looking to make sure that the fade time on the key lights when they turn on is set at 2 seconds, so that I don't hit the go button for a cue, the person starts singing and they're still in the dark because the fade was still set at 10 seconds instead of 2. And now is the process when I begin shutting down the board because I am satisfied with my progress and I am finished for the day. So, the first thing I do is I turn off the hazer and the heater. Now I go and I turn on the work lights in the auditorium so that I can turn the board out without being plunged into darkness. Now I go and I release the board, so the board no longer has any control over the lights whatsoever. And now I can shut down the board. Then I gotta wait for that to shut down before I can actually flip the power switch at the back and cover it up again. Straighten up while I'm waiting for that. And now's when I watch the other computer monitor to see when it shuts off, so I know when I can flip the switch. Cover up the board for the night. Grab all my things and start making my way out the door. After I straighten up my lyric sheets, of course. Now I turn the flashlight on my phone because I have to turn the auditorium lights off. And that is it for Saturday night, all ready for Sunday morning. So now we've reached Sunday morning. Typically I get up around maybe 5:30 or 6 o'clock, depending on how much time I need to get ready. I show up, and typically the board with its lighting power is already on because they need some light on the stage. My job is to turn on the heater, and after 5 to 7 minutes I turn the hazer on to get it going. Full blast, of course. It isn't until closer to the service or when it starts looking really hazy in the auditorium that I turn it down to its 5% setting. Then I possibly go through my cues, make sure everything still looks okay, I don't need to fix nothing, ask any questions that I needed to ask, like, oh hey, was so-and-so supposed to start singing here? Do I need to add a key light in here? And then at about 6:45, it comes time for the tech meeting. The 6:45 tech meeting. This is where your lighting person, your audio people, all your behind the scenes like stagehands and camera operators, CGI people, they all come to the chapel. And we go through the order of service, any special notes we may need, blah blah blah. Sorry, I didn't mean to make that sound boring. And now it is time for the run-through. This is us going through the service before the services actually start, so that we can get a feel for what it's like. Right now, this is the practice of the lobby hosts during the 5-minute countdown to service. And here we go. Ready? In 2, 1, go! This is always a little awkward. They have to like welcome the church when there's really no one in the auditorium right now. This is really one of the only chances I get to really test what my key lights look like, because I never have anyone standing on the stage when I'm programming the lights to figure out which key lights are going to light people up. This is also really the only time I get a true feel for when I need to hit the cues to activate the next lights. Because I never really know how the band is going to play this and what tempo they're going to go at. I get an idea from the song they put onto our planning center, but I don't know, it's never the same as when the band is actually playing the song. And this is always really fun, how you kind of get a feel for when these people that come out to talk on the stage, when they're going to come out, and therefore when you need to light them up. This is the bumper set lighting cue. It's the bumper video right before the message. And I always have to watch that countdown timer because I have to hit my cue for the message lighting at about 1 to 2 seconds until 0 to make sure that he's fully lit up when 0 comes around. So here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2, hit those lights. This is also when I get a feel for how the end of the service is going to be, what they're going to talk about, and therefore when I need to end the service with the lights. And this is when I need to make sure that all my cues have been written down onto my lyric sheets, because it's so much easier and much less anxiety inducing when I have it written next to the lyrics of the song, which cues to hit when, in case I get wrapped up in the song and I'm not paying attention. Oh no, where are we? And now this is the part of the service where I've already heard the sermon once, or just in between services, there's nothing to do. Time to pass the time with a book. And we're getting ready to hit the button. Watching that countdown timer. 5, 4, 3, 2, and hit the button. Now this is where I play the game of when is he going to stop talking. I kind of have to sit there on tenterhooks, just waiting to hit the button, waiting for, is he done? Is he done? Oh wait a minute, he started talking about something else. He's not done yet. Is he done? He's wrapping up. He's wrapping up. Oh wait, there it is. He's done. Now's the end of last service, where I need to get the house lights up full, very slowly, so no one notices that it's really happening. Because if I were to just turn the work lights on so I could turn the board off, we'd be going from about 50% lighting to 100 right away. Alright, so house lights are up full, so there's hopefully not too much of a change when I go over here and I hit my work light button. Then I gotta go over and I got to slowly bring down these masters. See those lights fading on the stage? I gotta bring them down slowly so no one notices the lights disappearing on the stage. It's very hard work. And lights are off so I can bring them down really quickly now. Okay, now I can release. And that releases all control that the board has over the lights. So now I can go over to my little panel again and I can turn the lighting power off. Yes, I do want to execute it, please. When there's no one in the auditorium and you hit the lighting power off, all of a sudden up on the stage you hear all the light fixtures going. It's really fun. I forgot to turn the house slider down. Not that it matters because the work lights are on. And shut down. Then I gotta wait a long time for this thing to shut down. Shut down. The other screen is done. Okay, it's done now. Now I can flip the switch at the back of the board. And as just a little bonus for you guys, here is what a really good light show looks like when it's done. This is probably one of my most favorite songs to set up lighting cues to, and I think you'll see why.
In man's empty praise and treasures the faith I never know. That you came along and put me back together. And every desire is now satisfied here in your love. We sing. Oh, there's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing, Lord. Nothing is better than you. Yes. Oh, I'm not afraid to show you my weakness, my failures and flaws. Lord, you see them all, and you still call me friend. 'Cause the God of the mountain is the God of the valley. And there's not a place your mercy and grace won't find me again. We sing, oh, there's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing better than
Alright guys, that was my church volunteer episode of Lights Camera Life. I will see you guys next time.